If you were to enter a new organisation, or if you happen to be a staff member in an organisation that you felt needed to give a digger, what language would you use as trigger words to make people stop and think?
If I missed one of the words, if we had a what?
So you, as a scenario, so you're working in an organisation that you feel as though needs to have a bit of a shake-up.
Yes.
You've obviously done that in your work history.
Absolutely.
And you're working with people who think they're doing the right thing, moving towards doing the right thing. However, clearly because of the culture underneath them or what others from the outside perceive as they're looking in, that there are problems happening. What kind of trigger words would you use to make the senior executive go, oh?
Well, let me just tell you how it worked in North Mississippi, because that's a great question, by the way. The first thing we did was look at the employee satisfaction surveys. They were horrible. Okay? But remember I said we had an arrogant leadership and denial. So their response to that was, well, we've got a bunch of stupid employees that don't understand how good we really are. And I said, very interesting. Not much arrogance in this room, is there? So after that, then what I did was a lot of the principles that I'm talking about are based on a book by Jim Hunter called The Servant, and then his follow-up book is The World's Most Powerful Leadership Principle, Servant Leadership. And the second book is more of a textbook. The first book is an allegory, full story. The second book, though, really starts diving into the characteristics. It's about 250 pages long, about 12 chapters. So what we did is we did a book review. Remember book reviews in school? You know, you had to read a chapter and then come to school and present it in front of the class. So we just did that. And we rotated it amongst each one of the senior leader group members. Okay, so one person would take chapter 1, the next time we met chapter 2. So we worked through the entire book. Okay, now, one of the key reasons why I was doing that was I was evaluating the senior leadership team as we went through the process. And I could tell very quickly who was going to be engaged and who wasn't going to be engaged, and who was interested and who wasn't interested. And there was a lot of passive-aggressive behavior in this leadership team. So I was able, through going through that process, to be able to determine a distribution of leadership into one of several categories. And what I did, you know the old 80-20 rule? What I did was I had a 20-60-20. And as I was going through, I put everybody into one of those pockets. And as I was going through that analysis, I realized that the top 20 really did get it. We had the top 10% were like superstars. The next group got it, but they weren't quite as strong. In the 60%, we kind of had people that were on the right. We had some people on the left. In the bottom 20%, what I found out is we had probably 10% of them that needed to go right now because they just weren't going to ever get it. And the other 10 were worth at least having a conversation with them about leadership. So I took that distribution to the board and laid it all out. I told them I was going to do it beforehand. I mean, I kept the board informed the entire time. And I don't know if I mentioned that, but the most important thing about employee engagement is communication, communication, communication. And if you think about it in relationships, what's the most important thing in any relationship? Communication. Right. So, you know, I kept everybody informed. And I didn't tell the senior leadership that's what I was doing, but I told the board what I was doing. So I go to the board and I kind of laid it out of where these people were and what my plan was, and they said, go ahead. So we did an organizational restructuring. We had the conversations. We let some people go. And by the time all of it was said and done, we had 13 people at the beginning of the process, and we had 6 of those people left in leadership positions at the end of the process. So basically, we more than halved the senior leadership team. All right. Now let me ask you a question. What sort of a message do you think that sent to the employees?
Yeah.
This guy's
Did you
serious.
re-engage?
Huh?
Did you re-engage the ones, like, did you re-engage the 6 that met?
Yeah, The 6 that stayed?
No, the ones that left, did you employ more people?
Yes, yes, we replaced them. Right, we replaced those positions. And then that's where we started, to answer to your question. We started then rebuilding and developing. The second part of it is, what message do you think that sent to the doctors who had voted a vote of no confidence in leadership? They said, finally, we've been saying this for years, this should have been done. Because I'm talking about people that had 20, 25, 30, 40 years experience in leadership in that organization. And the doctors were scared to death of them. They didn't like them. They were intimidated. I mean, some of the stories I could tell you about how the leadership treated the doctors would just scare you to death. I mean, making comments like, I can replace you. Here's a glass of water. I put my finger in it, take it out. That's how important you are to this organization. I can get rid of you and bring in another orthopedist. If you don't like it, too bad. You can go. I mean, there's a lot of just really what I call bad behaviors that were going on with the senior leadership group. So when we did that, that was sort of a turning point for the entire organization, because a lot of the employees were saying these people needed to go too, because those leaders treated their employees. And I'm talking about using profanity, yelling at people, belittling people, embarrassing people, not respecting people, all the bad behaviors that sometimes leaders have. And even through all that, the employees still maintain, a cheerful attitude, because they were there because they wanted to work in healthcare and make a difference in people's lives and help people. So apart from their boss, basically what they did, stay away from the boss, and they spent all their time taking care of the patients or taking care of the people who did take care of the patients. So, in spite of that poor leadership, the employees still maintained pretty high morale, but they didn't have any respect for leadership. So does that answer your question? Okay.
Questions for that?